Hello there, and welcome
Hey,
to the four people who are the four last people in America to play pickleball.
We really
Nice.
are.
It is nice to have you with us. Yes, indeed.
mm,
Pickleball, man. It's on every drug ad now, right?
oh God,
It's all over the place. And I could have been one of the greatest pickleball players of all time. I think I told Sherry this at one time. I moved into an apartment after a divorce called the Slope, which I always thought was just the perfect name to for a guy to pick to go into an apartment right after a divorce, right? The Slope.
sliding down that.
Slide sliding down the financial slope, baby. And I looked, when I agreed to live there, it had a tennis court, a couple of tennis courts. And I invited a date over to play tennis, and she had a racket, and I had a racket, and everything. We go out, and it's not a tennis court. It's tiny. And I didn't know what to say. I said, well, I don't know what this is. Come to find out years later, it was early pickleball.
Really? Back then?
Yeah, back then.
Oh,
Yeah,
my children's grandparents in Minnesota, they live in Eden Prairie, right outside of Minneapolis.
right.
They've been playing pickleball for 25 years or more.
Really. Yeah.
And I thought for the longest time, you guys, I thought it was a game the two of them had made up.
Right.
I
Yes.
didn't realize it was a real game.
When I
And,
first
th-
heard
and
it, I
thank
thought
you.
it was something people did, just like,
Yeah.
in the backyard.
Thank you for referring when I was talking about it to back then, back back when cars were just being invented. And yeah, I don't remember what happened to the date, but if I had stayed with pickleball and if I picked it up back
Oh,
then,
You'd be in the Olympics, the
yeah.
pickleball
I
Olympics.
would be in the pickleball
Yeah.
Olympics. I would be
You know what?
crushing these old bastards.
I got to
Yeah.
tell you, Bob, isn't life amazing? Because just when you think you
Um,
had turned over every single regret and analyzed it, here's a new one.
Here's a new one.
And that's worth
Yeah,
celebrating, I think.
yeah.
Cheers, everybody.
Thank you. I think it keeps me going, to be honest with you. My regrets.
I do too. It's the furnace that drives your factory.
The
Yes.
Let me
next,
say
go
let me
ahead.
say hi to some folks. Jason
Yeah.
Tannery in Grand Junction. Oh, I love a Grand Junction. And Cindy Durham in Kokomo, Indiana, who is having wait, a big old glass of wine. Amen, sister.
Can you say
Michelle
Kokomo without thinking about that song? I can't.
Kokomo,
I can't.
Michelle Tumalo, and Diana Blackman, who loves our hats tonight. Um, I
Yes.
I persuaded Lamar to consider entering the exciting world of hat wearing, and he was like, I don't know. But then he found the hat,
I found the hat.
and when you find the hat, your whole life changes.
Yes.
That
Yes.
is a very distinctive hat. It's not really a cowboy
No,
hat.
it's not.
It's kind of well, I was mentioning before we went on, if anybody has seen the Queen's Gambit, the male champion of the
Let
world.
me recognize Stacy Taddock. She goes,
Yeah.
Lamar, are you headed out on an expedition after the show?
We are, we are.
Go
Anyway,
ahead.
that chess player had that. That was his signature. That it was the exact hat. It's a very cool hat.
I searched and I've been searching for this ever since. How long ago was when you and I had this conversation? I mean, oh
Oh,
my God.
it's been
When,
months. Yeah,
yeah. Because
it's been months.
I can never find a hat. Every time I try on a hat, I go, oh God, oh God, oh God.
But
So I
that
found this. I went on the Stetson website and I found it. And so I would find people that were selling Stetson hats that said they had it in stock, and I would go there and they didn't have it. So I finally just had to order it, knowing that if I didn't like it, I could send it back. But yeah,
Well, check this out. So, one of you have to have when you're laid up, like my husband is, and you can't walk or drive or do anything. You have to set some goals to look forward to. You just do, or you're gonna sink into depression.
Right.
So, every time we drive out west, we go through Oklahoma City and we stop at the National Cowboy Museum, which is fantastic, by the way. And there's a famous hat maker out there who custom makes your Western hats.
really.
And so for our birthdays, because our birthdays are just a few days apart, um, this coming summer, we are going to have our heads measured and have cowboy hats made. Now, when they measure my head, they're going to confuse it with a water tower. But Kevin's head is a normal size, so his hat will probably cost a little bit less than mine. But yeah, that's his goal. That's what we're looking forward to, is having custom cowboy hats from
Hello
Oklahoma.
to Eric Calhoun, who sounds like he's from South Carolina, but he is in Los Angeles
Yeah.
and with us tonight. Thank you very much. I guess it's
Yeah.
afternoon for you right now, Eric. Appreciate that. Do you know there's a Stetson University in Florida? And
Yeah.
it's a very good school. And I think it was founded by the owner of Stetson hats, because the football mascots for their team, they have a golf team and so on, are the hats, the Stetson University
yeah,
hat.
that would make perfect sense.
Yeah, yeah.
My so as soon as we got out west when I was a kid, my father had like a real cowboy hat. Like a real cowboy hat. Like they don't make them anymore like that unless you go and get a custom Stetson. And he loved it because it gave him an additional like 3 inches of height,
Right.
because he was a real little guy, you know. So he
Yeah.
had his cowboy boots, which have all cowboy boots have a heel on them.
Yep.
Right.
So he picked up about 1.5 inches on the boots and another 3 inches on the hat, and was almost as tall as my mom.
Perfect. He was all hat and no cattle, as they say.
Yeah, yeah.
If I ever had something custom made, I would love to have a pair of custom made cowboy boots.
Oh yeah. Have you
Because
ever have you ever
I have a
talked to
wide
someone?
foot, and
Wait.
it's expensive.
Are you okay? I'll be right back.
All right.
No answer could be bad. Could be unconscious.
I have to tell you, cowboy boots have never appealed to me. You know, I wasn't born on the range. I think cowboy boots should be worn by people who, you know, at least have some sort of connection into that lifestyle. And they look so uncomfortable with
What?
the pointy, you know, front and everything. I mean, I just can't imagine they're comfortable. But I guess if you have them custom made, maybe so, right?
Yeah, yeah. I would love to have a pair. I've had a couple of pair years ago, but over the years, my foot's I've got a wide foot, and it's hard to just go in off the shelf on cowboy boots.
Don't stop talking, man. Just hold the women. Just hold the women. So I had this pizza delivered. Mary did actually tonight, just before we joined, and it came from a place that I'm not familiar with, but it was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was pretty good pizza. I mean, there is no bad pizza, and this was like a 7 out of 10, and some wings came along with it. Have you ever really looked at the boxes that pizzas come in? They're like such a cliche, right?
Yeah.
Like they've got a guy on. They're about 10 different versions, and one of them is they got a guy with a white chef's cap,
Chef
you know,
Boyardee
on it.
hat. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and he's got a mustache, and he goes, "Pizza, it's the best." You know, I can't argue with the dude. It is the best.
Yeah.
Right.
Even a bad one is still good.
Yeah. And then you got other pizza boxes that always have on the front of it like a little scene from an Italian street somewhere with a little pizzeria restaurant, right?
Yeah.
They got like 4 or 5 of those. You never get one that is like, "Thanks for coming to our strip shopping center," you know, because that's where most of them are.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Listen, if you got a thing that nothing else will go, it's too small for anything else. You know, and it's had fail after fail. You put a pizza place in there, you're good to go.
You have a shot. The only way that you probably are going to totally succeed is if you put a Chinese restaurant in there. For some reason, you cannot kill a Chinese restaurant in this country. You just can't.
I've got one like a mile from my house, and it's a strip shopping center. In fact, it is the strip shopping center where Old Time Video went to die, and it's in that strip shopping center. And it's a very, very small place, and the food is fantastic. I mean, it is just their shrimp egg food. You know, it's just unbelievably good. when the COVID thing hit, of course, their food's to go anyway. I mean,
Right,
everything's to
right.
go. But when the COVID thing hit, they built a wooden box. It was ingenuity was ridiculous. They built this wooden box where you would walk in, and it had 2 or 3 different traps in the box. And so you would put your card in, and then it would go into another card thing, and then they would get it. It take They were so far away from the personal contact. It was great. And then your food, it would go into this thing, and then it would slide to another box. It would open, and then I mean, it was a big process, but I was just amazed at what they went through.
And people were loving that. And speaking of COVID, I hate to bring this up, but I was online and I saw Becky Sutherland is with us right now from Maine, and
She's real
she,
sick.
yeah, she's got
She's really
COVID.
sick.
God bless, Beck. I hope you're going to be okay
Yeah.
soon. You will be
She work
okay.
she works in an elementary school, so I mean, you're surrounded by sick little kids all the time. So yeah,
Yeah,
she's got it bad. She's got it
yeah,
bad.
yeah. I think my first real date was at a Chinese restaurant. I think years ago I touched on this. I remember Max saying, "That is so sweet." But I picked up my date, and she was from a family that never went out to dinner. So, I mean, if they went somewhere, it was like fast food, and they didn't do that. Every night it was at home. And I didn't have very much money, but I knew this one Chinese restaurant because my father would take us there every now and then. And I got to take the family car that night, which was
Oh,
unusual. Yeah. And so I pick up this 16-year-old girl, and off we go to the Chinese restaurant. And this particular Chinese restaurant had uh, linen tablecloths.
oh,
And yeah. And when you order the spare ribs, the Chinese spare ribs, they came in a small little plate, kind of elegant. And
yeah.
then I got the shrimp fried rice, and she got whatever she wanted. It wasn't very expensive. That girl, I swear she was about to cry. She felt like she was in a movie. And the total bill, was probably $8 or $9.
Yeah.
And I was kind of shocked growing up in the restaurant business to be with somebody, and she's a really cute girl, to be with somebody who had never actually been in a restaurant before in her life.
Bob, do you know that I had never been to a Chinese restaurant until I was in college?
Oh, you're kidding. And you were raised in Philly for a
I never
while?
been into one till I was married. Chinese
What?
No, we moved out west when I was in second grade. And then when we came back, I mean, I was sitting like I was a kid. I was a teenager. I didn't have a car. I didn't have any
Yeah,
money.
I could see how that could happen. But Lamar, for you in your part of Georgia, there was no
No,
Chinese
there were no
restaurant?
Chinese restaurants. None.
Really?
None. None. No, 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 no. Fish camps, but no Chinese restaurants.
Do you remember the Andy of Mayberry episode where Aunt B teams up with a Chinese American guy to open the first Chinese restaurant in Mayberry?
Yes.
Do you really?
I do. I do. I do.
I saw that in reruns like 10 years ago on some channel, and I thought, wow. It was kind of groundbreaking in a way because that show was on, and here you have Aunt B, you
Yeah.
know, with a Chinese American guy in business together,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It was kind of cool.
But yeah, I'd never been to an actual steakhouse until I was in high school.
Really?
Because we cooked. My mama cooked. She
Yeah.
cooked. She cooked. We ate. We cooked. The only
Yeah.
time we went to the restaurant.
With my parents when they were still married, we went to this brand new fancy pizza place in Jackson Hole, and my mom ordered pizza that had it wasn't pizza like, pepperoni pizza. It was like Mexican themed pizza, and it had sour cream on it and pico de gallo and
Ooh.
avocados. And I didn't want it. I mean, as a kid, I was like a super weirdo picky eater, and my parents insisted that I eat it. And so I vomited all over the table in the fancy pizza restaurant in Jackson Hole. Yeah. So, That's it. That's like the one memory I have of going out
Mm.
to dinner with George and Fran. And then once my parents split up and I was living with my grandmother, her favorite thing in this wide world was a classic Philly, Jersey, Delaware diner. I mean, I'm talking like you'd see the Sopranos guys meeting in.
Yeah.
Love that. So that was like a big thing for her. And we would go to those kind of places. But like a Chinese restaurant. Now, my mom, Bob, don't think that we were complete savages. My mom made Le Choy, swing American style.
Oh yeah,
In
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we had some Le Choy. Now, I couldn't tell you, it was a grayish green, gelatinous, gooey mass with some crunchy things on top of it. Was it chow mein? Was it, egg foo young? I have no idea. It
My
was Le Choy.
father would look at it and call it slop.
Yeah,
And,
and
and and we were served that. My brother and I were served that exact product, and it filled you up. It was so. You just say, "Well, it's not great, but it is salty." And when you're
there's that.
13 years old, you like either sugar or salt. So it's very salty, and there were some crunchy things in there, and there was some sort of chicken or God knows what you could sort of find, and then you were all filled up. When I think back on it, it was kind of like that's what they do in prison.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
fill you up.
Well,
Yeah.
that Chung
Yeah.
King Le Choy, whatever it was,
Yeah,
it looked like Orange is the New Black cafeteria food. But
right.
when you say like, well, it was salty and it filled you up. I lived in a family of chain smokers. The only thing they could taste was salt. So the
That's right.
saltier the better, right?
That's very true. That
Oh,
is that is very true. I When I was smoking, and I didn't smoke very long, and I have not smoked in decades, but when I was smoking, I can remember going out one time, and this is close to where I said, You just cannot smoke." And so I was working with a crew, and there was about 5 or 6 of us at lunch at a Chinese restaurant, and, the shrimp fried rice came, and I put salt on it, and one of my fellow workers went, "You were the only person in the entire world that I've ever seen put salt on Chinese food." And I thought for a minute, and I thought, "I can't taste it because of the cigarettes. I gotta do something."
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're right.
my when I was a kid, like little, I would watch my aunts and uncles eat like these peppers that were they all had gardens. They all grew eggplants, tomatoes, hot peppers, basil, oregano, all of it, right? And they would eat these peppers. They would be bright red faced and sobbing and sweating. And I thought, is this what it happens when you become an adult? Like you cultivate a taste for torture? But I also now realize that they were desperate for any kind of sensation in their mouth because they couldn't taste anything.
It's true. It's true. I mean, when you think about cigarettes, it's got to be in the history of human consumption the worst product and the most ridiculous product at the same time. I know there are people that eat pig snouts, but I don't want one, but there's probably something there, right? And I understand alcohol will, give you a little bit of a buzz. It's not a good thing. It's poison, but it is what it is. Cigarettes. Bob Newhart does this thing where he is Sir Walter Raleigh in North Carolina, and you have to use your imagination, calling home to the Queen of England, giving a report. And he says, "Yeah, Queen, yeah, how are you? Oh, it's going great here. We've got a new invention here. Yeah, tobacco. hmm Well, it's a leaf, and you dry it, and then you crumble it, and you wrap it in paper, you set it on fire, and you inhale the smoke from the fire into your lungs." I mean,
yeah.
it's just nuts.
Yeah.
Billy Privet says, "Stop shaming my addiction." I mean, I forget what movie was I watching. So, we've been watching a lot more movies since Kev's been operated on, and it was an old movie. and all the actors were smoking. And I found myself like, you ever watch something where you stop paying attention to the dialogue because you're just studying the action?
Sure.
And I was just watching the way like one actor, like he would inhale and he would kind of hold it for a minute and then he would blow it out, not a smoke ring, but close to a smoke ring. And then another actor held his cigarette this way and he took really short puffs on it. And I thought, once upon a time, this was everybody everywhere. And I can't remember the last time we talked about this. I see a lot of people vaping. Oh my God, all the vape. But I can't remember the last time I saw somebody with an old school cigarette puffing
Usually,
away on it, like out in the
usually,
world.
if you're driving by a strip mall or a strip shopping center, and there's a restaurant,
Or
and
the back of a restaurant.
the
If you're in the
back of a
back
restaurant, right? The cook or the dishwasher or whoever it is. The last time I saw it, it was outside of a guy was taking a break outside of a supermarket. You're right. They used to be. My father could make those damn smoke rings.
Look what Julie Carter said. She said, I listened to a hypnosis video on YouTube and haven't had a cigarette since. I
Good for
mean,
her. Good for
wow,
her. Yeah.
right?
It's
This
it's
is
listen, if you're smokers, I'm not going to bust on you. It's a very hard thing to give up. I hope you do.
Speaking of hypnosis, Julie, I was supposed to do a hypnosis past life regression last summer, but 2023 pinned me to the mat and choked the life out of me. So I'm recommitting to doing that in 2024.
I
I
really
even
want to do that.
I even found the practice that does it. So I'm super super psyched.
You going to do that, Heather?
I want to desperately. I think it would be just super fun to figure out and a good time. I would love to do that. But it'll be interesting to see Sherry's.
I don't have any illusions that I was anybody worth a damn in any previous life, but I do have one really strong conviction. And it's so weird, and then we'll change the subject because Bob hates this kind of thing. I know I came back too soon. I know I did.
Sorry.
I just came back too soon, and there was a reason why I came back too soon, and my life reflects that same reason. I volunteered to do something so that somebody else wouldn't have to, and I came back too soon. And my whole life has felt like, I came back too soon. So if that doesn't show up in my past life regression, I'm going to be amazed.
See, I was convinced up until recently that my past lives were none of my business, except for I read this article, and I'll have to dig it up for you, Sherry. But oh man, it made me so interested in it.
I just believe I believe in an immortal soul, and I think that soul can get up to all kinds of everything or whatever. But I'm so 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 curious, and I always have been. When I was a little girl, we didn't have I didn't have neighbors, we didn't have television. My mom would let me read whatever books she had in the house. And she had a book, I can't remember the whole exact title, but it was something something of Audrey Rose.
Mm.
And it was this little girl. The story was about this little girl that was having these horrific nightmares. And it turned out that she, in her most recent past life, had been in a car accident where the car was on fire. And she was having that dream over and over again
Oh, yeah.
in real life. Now, when you're 9 or maybe 8, that is possibly not optimal reading material, but my mom, and I love her for it, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. My mom was like, if it's in the house, you can read it. If you have questions, we can talk about it. And so I've been fascinated ever since by the idea. But there are people who go, well, I know that I was like Genghis Khan or I was the queen or whatever. I'm pretty sure I was some exhausted bitch trying to figure out what to cook for dinner in every single incarnation that I've had.
I think in a previous life I was a really rich asshole, and now I'm paying for it.
No, 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 Bob, you're not paying for it. You were a really, really rich asshole. And in this life, you can't believe you're still not a really, really rich asshole. And you're
That's
so
how I'm
bitter.
paying for it because
Yeah.
I knew there's something in me knew that I was a rich asshole,
Let,
and that has been taken away. And it's like,
You just left an asshole.
let me
what happened?
let me
What
validate
happened?
that for you. Let
Yeah.
me validate that for you. the handful of childhood photos that you have and the handful of stories that I know from people other than you, like a story that your mom told me once a million years ago. You really arrived in this world like wheels up and have been just unbelievably dismayed by how not that is for
Yeah.
you.
It's like the money went away, but the asshole stayed.
Yes, my asshole's still here.
It just, it's,
Hey, mister, some people would die to be that consistent. Cheers.
Damn right.
yeah,
Cheers.
I appreciate that very much. Hey, speaking of money, how about those people that bought those 3-year trips around the world and got screwed?
$16 million that they've gotten hadn't given it back yet.
Tell the viewers tonight what the story behind the story is. Not everybody knows.
I can't remember the name of this thing. But they sold tickets. I mean, and you can take cruises. People think 7-day, 10-day. No. You can do 30-day cruises with no problem.
You can do a year.
You can do a year cruise, no problem. You can do a round the world cruise. But these people came up with a cruise that they were going to do for 3 years. You got on the boat. You stay on the boat for 3 years.
And your family can come and visit you.
Or in a port of call, your family can come visit and that kind of stuff. They got doctors. They got everything on there. You don't have to do anything. And it could cost as little as $35,000 a year or as much as $75,000 a year, depending upon what level you got. I mean,
like what kind of accommodations?
Yeah, for 35,000, you're at the bottom of the ship and you're in a small room,
window,
and whatever.
Right.
And so people just jumped on this, and most of the people that jumped on this, of course, you would have to be retired. I mean, because you're gone for 3 years. Some people sold their homes. Some people sold their businesses. I mean, they did and you had to pay a big deposit to get them to hold your spot. So some people paid upwards of $100,000 deposit. Some people $50,000. It just depends, but you had to pay a large deposit for them to hold a spot. And so all of a sudden, they started getting emails saying, we're having a little bit of a problem, because supposedly they were going to lease a boat. Well, I don't know how many boats are out there that can hold,
you can lease.
I mean, come on. And so basically, the next email they got, the guy said, we're just not going to be able to do this. So I am so sorry. And I looked up the website, and the website is tremendous. But the first thing you see on the website is, this is no longer in business. I mean, they shut it down. So now these people are having to sue to get their deposits back.
I know.
That money's gone. It's a scam.
I don't think they will. Shame on, I feel so sorry for those people, but shame on them for signing up. I forget the name of it too. And because you and I cannot remember the name of the cruise ship company, that says something along. I mean, you don't sign up.
You've never heard of.
For Billy Bong's cruises, I want to see the ship before I'm paying any money. The thing that cracked me up though, with the 3-year cruise, have your family meet you along the way, Allie, hey, sweetheart. Yeah. Mary and I are having so much fun. I miss you. We're going to be in Shanghai in 3 weeks, and I would love for you I can't get them to come 2 hours, let alone to go to Shanghai to see me.
Okay, here's the deal. If I'm going to do the 3-year cruise, I'm not going to be on the first outing. Okay, I'm not going to be on the first. Okay, once you've done that a couple of times, then I think there might be something to it. And if you're not Carnival or you're not Royal Caribbean, if you're not somebody, I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I've seen stories of people who, it wasn't some sort of a new program for the cruise ships, but like a widowed woman, and she's all alone now. Maybe she has a couple of friends, but she always wanted to travel. Her husband never wanted to travel. He's gone now. And she gets a small room on a cruise ship and has the time of her life. Yes. And she has all her food, and she has all the security that she needs. They have medical attention there. She meets new people, and because her husband and she were successful people, let's say it runs $100,000 a year, but they've saved a lot of money and they have, investments and all, and she breaks even. And I always thought that was kind of a cool thing for a certain person to do.
Yeah.
Well, there are people that are doing that right now.
Yeah.
I read about them every once in a while. It'll pop up in my news feed. This couple has been on, like a Royal Caribbean cruise, Lamar, your favorite.
Yes.
And they've been on it for 9 months and, they're seeing the world. I mean, I could never talk him into that. And I don't think I would like that, but I get it. I get
Right.
why
If
people
it's
would.
what you want to do. I had a good friend of mine. They were in their 70s, but just really go people, and they had been on a lot of Royal Caribbean cruises, and so and they got all kinds of points and stuff, and they don't drink, so those points. I mean, you spend those points on the drink stuff. So, they got all these points. So they're staying in any cabin they want to stay in, whatever. But they started doing the month-long cruises. It was $18,000 for a month. And they would go like all these different places, and you're gone for a month. And he told me the worst part about it was, he said, we'll get back, we get home, we get all our stuff settled, and we're sitting in the living room, we watch a little bit of TV. And he said, somebody's got to cook something. We haven't had to do nothing for a month. He said, for a month, everything we want's handed to us. And he said, it takes about 3 or 4 days. He said, it's a chance we may starve to death until we figure out nobody's fixing our food. We've got to get
You got to get up and do it.
Exactly.
That actually sounds cool because, most of us have at least some form of family or friends.
Yeah.
To go for a month sounds actually kind of cool. I wouldn't mind doing that, depending on the location.
Lisa Hall's cousin did 6 to 8 months, but he was the entertainment, and he said he had a great time. Oh, and Lauren, let me show Lauren. Her 14-year-old collects cat T-shirts.
Oh, that's a cool one.
You're asking where I got it? I got it on the internet. Like, I am the biggest sucker. I am the person who, when they're scrolling Instagram, actually buys that crap. That's where I found this one. But look at it. It's everything you could want. It's a UFO.
Oh, this is you.
It's everything.
They made that shirt for you.
Thank you, Lamar. That's how I felt.
Exactly.
I mean, it would have been a crime for you not to buy that shirt, because
this is one of the things that when it gets delivered, Kev goes, "What was in your package?" "Oh, nothing." And so then when I wear the shirt, he goes, "Where the hell did you get that stupid looking thing?" "Oh, babe, I've had this forever. You should really think about your memory."
Tony Garcia, who is our manager, is in the house tonight. And I'm drinking this wine and charging it to you, Tony.
Tony says you can try.
Tony said, "Hope it came in a box."
Yeah, right. I got something that I had to buy for the show. It's right over here. It's a little piece of equipment. It was $137. And Sheri said, well, just send it to our accountant, and I lost the receipt, it's gone.
It used to be money.
It used to be money. Tony's laughing. Tony's laughing now.
Yeah.
Tony's laughing.
But do you know if you're being honest, Bob, do you know what you like even better than getting reimbursed?
Complaining
Not getting reimbursed and reminding us frequently that you spent $137 of your own money on something. I mean,
this is not true. Listen, this is not the first time we're going to hear about this.
Very true. Yeah.
It's and
I'm looking at the piece of equipment right here. I see it every day because I'm in the sunroom studio. So I'll never forget it. Yeah.
It's kind of like your open acknowledgement that in your past life you were a rich asshole, and in this one you're so pissed that you're not.
Yeah, I know.
And I mean, you have
gotta
to
be who you are.
That's the path to happiness.
I think so.
Accepting who you are and enjoying what you enjoy. And what you enjoy is looking at that thing and knowing for a stone cold fact that you are never getting reimbursed for that.
Yeah,
that's what you enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey, headline. Netflix, Twin Flames. Twin Flames.
That's on my list to
watch. Oh. We got one more to go. Watching the third one tonight. Twin flames. This guy, oh my God, the scammer of all scammers. Him and this woman get together and they start this thing where he talks about our relationship. It is, we are twin flames. We are twin flames. And there's no other person in the world that either one of us could be with but each other. And he's out there, he's getting in his BMW and he's doing, he said, my life. He says, I'm so successful. All of this has happened because her and I, we are twin flames and we've joined together. I'm going to show you how to find your twin flame. And so he starts getting people to subscribe to this, and to do the classes, it's $2,229 for the class, and you just have to pay $229 a month. Okay, they'll finance whatever. Okay, and so he's teaching them how to be, and he said it gets to the point. I don't want to ruin anything, but it gets to the point. He says once you know who your twin flame is, nothing can stop you. Nothing. Even if they don't want to be with you, do not give up. Do not give up. Mirror to yourself that they are your twin flame. So this one girl, she says, I have found my twin flame, but he has rejected me. And they do all this on like a FaceTime type thing, whatever. And he says, and he goes, no, do not accept that. Do not accept that he doesn't accept you. That he's yours. You have to claim him. And so she won't quit emailing the guy. So he takes out a restraining order. And she tells the leader of this cult, she goes, well, he's taking out a restraining order. And he goes, that means nothing. The restraining order means nothing. You pursue him. Do not stop. That restraining order, it does not exist. It does not apply to you. She gets thrown in jail. And he says, that's a temporary setback. You have to pursue. I mean, this is the kind of stuff they got going on. So then he decides he starts picking people's twin flame for them. So this 19-year-old girl, he picks a twin flame for her that is 11 years older than she is. And he says, how's it going? And she said, well, him and a friend were traveling and he was holding some drugs for his friend. And so now he's in jail and it's going to be 6 months before he gets out. And he goes, don't worry. As soon as he gets out, he's yours. Do not stop. And he keeps on. They put these two people together and she's miserable. And so he uses them as an example to the rest of these hundreds of people. And he goes, how is your life? Now she's already out. So she's telling us this and we see that. Yeah. She says, how is your life? What does it feel like to have everything you can dream of? And her lip starts quivering and she goes, it is so awesome to have all my dreams come true. This is bizarre. Twin flames. Gotta watch it. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy.
I'll tell you what, Sheri and I are twin flames. We didn't get no BMWs. I'll tell you that right
we
now.
Didn't, but we burned some shit down, my friend. Did we
totally.
Not?
Oh my God.
I saw Mean Girls yesterday.
Lamar is reviewing that tomorrow on the show.
Yeah, I know.
So no. So Lamar, you can't say what you thought of it.
No.
But Bob, did you like it?
I did. It was an unusual experience.
Because that's the movie that I always picture you watching at all times.
I just knew that you were going to review it, and Mary would not go to it. She doesn't love going to movies, especially in theaters. She'll watch it. She's watching one with Madison in the other room over there. But I drove by the movie theater after I went to the store, and it said starts at 2:30. And I went, wow, it's 25 after. So that's kind of calling me. I could talk about it with Lamar, and people are talking about it and all. So I bought the ticket, and where I go to the movies, they show you a screen and that you can pick out your seat. And so I go walking in as a lone male. And the girl said, which movie do you want to see? There's like 6 there. And I said, I want to see Mean Girls, the musical. And there was a pause. And she said, okay. I said, what seats are available? And she said, pretty much what you want. I was the only person in the movie.
Well, an afternoon. I love that about afternoon.
I do
movies.
love that. I agree with you. I agree with you. So I went and I felt, I don't know, a little strange because, it's a bunch of teenage girls jumping around. But the dancing and the story was kind of cool. I knew it from the Tina Fey movie, from years and years ago. And Tina Fey is in it. And even Lindsay Lohan has a cameo in it. And it was really well done. I thought it was a fun movie. And having been a father of girls, at least one of my girls was
A mean girl.
no, she was the focus of
Yeah.
the mean girl.
Yeah.
2 or 3 of them. So I know what that whole scene is, and I think that's
Oh, yeah.
what drew me. In addition to be able to talk to you about it sometime down the road.
Yeah.
But it was pretty well done. I don't even know if it's doing well in the theaters, but I thought the musical part of it would really be a drag, but it wasn't. It was really well produced.
No, I think it is doing well. I think
It
not
is?
only is it
Good.
doing well, it's really well received. And you have to remember that it's a Broadway show.
A Broadway
And it's
show,
done
yeah.
incredibly well as a Broadway show. Now, Lamar, you had a question here. Let me find it. Somebody's asking if you saw something. Let me go back because I want to make sure we answer.
Oh, Mother God. They asked if Lamar has seen
The
one
Best
about
of
Mother
Enemies.
God.
Yeah, have you seen that?
No.
I
Best of Enemies.
that was
What-
another one.
Did
Somebody else.
someone just say the person that asked was known as Mother of God?
No. There's another one. So somebody asks about Mother God. Hang on, I
Oh.
can't get my chat. But
don't
there was
know that.
another one before that, Heather.
Yep. Somebody asked Best of Enemies, and somebody asked if you had seen the documentary about Mother God, which I can't remember what.
I haven't seen the documentary, but as I scanned through, I saw it. I mean, I know what it is.
It's
I haven't
Love
seen
Has Won, the Cult of Mother God. That's what the movie's called.
How about Saltburn? That's on my list to watch. That's supposed to be really funny. It's on Netflix.
That's
Really,
what
really good.
At first I thought, well, no big deal, but there's a lot of stuff kicking back on that it's really good. So I do need to see that. I do need to see that.
I saw a commercial this afternoon when I was just kind of watching the news for a few minutes. And evidently the U-Haul company,
Yeah.
they're realizing that they've got to go one-on-one with what's that company where you have like a box you can put everything in and they take it
Pods.
away?
Pods.
All right. So evidently Pods is doing pretty good. So they have their own version called the U-Box. I just love television because the fantasy is just so fantastic. So they show this family. There's 2 kids and a mother and a father, and they're moving. And so the U-Pods people show up, the U-Box people show up, and all their stuff is taken out and put into the U-Box right out there. Here's another U-Box. They need 2 or 3 U-Boxes. Everybody's smiling. And then the next scene dissolves into they're at their new house and the U-Boxes have shown up and the U-Haul people are moving their crap in. And what's the family doing? I don't know what the father's doing, but the mother and the 2 kids and the dog are going out for a walk.
No,
While
the
the
dad's carrying
the
that
stuff
crap
gets
in. That's
moved
what the
in. Are
dad's
you kidding me? It's one of the worst, most stressful days of your life. And these people are going for a walk in the park with a beagle.
The last time that we moved, we weren't going for a walk in a park with a beagle. We were trying so hard not to assault each other.
Exactly.
Yes, I have
Exactly.
seen The Beekeeper. You need to go see it.
He loved it. He reviewed that last week,
yeah.
the Jason Statham movie.
Yeah, check out my review. It's really good. It's really good.
I don't want to see it. I just don't want to see all that violence.
You know what else has turned out to be good was, or getting a lot, is making a ton of money is Anybody But You, or Anyone But You.
The
Really?
Glenn Powell, Sydney Sweeney movie.
Yeah, it's already hit over 100
Yeah.
million. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the kitty cat. I just looked up and saw The kitty cat. Oh, so
You know,
sweet.
you know why, Lamar?
Yeah.
I think people, the world is really rough right now, and it's January, which lasts 1,000 days. Um, for the same reason that people are so caught up in the Travis Kelsey Taylor Swift love story. Like, God, can we just have a spoonful of good news every now and again? And the Sydney Sweeney movie is like, it's light, it's fluffy, it
It's
feels
fun.
good.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
Jennifer's in Mexico. So her weekend is wonderful. Girl, I bet there is.
Julie Kramerson, thank you so much. Yes, my Talking Lamar was about the Beekeeper movie and about bees. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. That's good.
Robin wants us to show our pets at every happy hour. I've only got one down here. Let me grab her. Hang on.
Darby.
The rest of
Harper,
it,
if I don't give in to her demands, she unplugs the router. So that's the
I'll s-
only reason
let-
she's up here.
Let me see if I can call Madison's dog. Madison is with us, and her dog is Dudley.
Ooh.
Come on, sit down. Go sit down.
Hey, can you send in Dudley so Dudley can make?
There you go.
This is Miss Esme.
Miss Esme. She was not the hacker the other day.
There's my girl.
The other cats are just tormenting Kevin because he can't fight them off. They're all over him. They lay on top of him. They walk across
they
his
come.
head.
Here
It's
they
terrible.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
Come here,
So
Dudley.
many babies.
Come on. Where are you going? Dudley, here.
Finn's like,
Dudley, come on.
Ben will take it. Come on, Dud. Come on, Dud. Can you see Dudley? Yeah.
I can see him. Look, there he is.
Yes.
Miss Esme, Lisa Bohannon. Miss
Good.
Esme.
Good job, guys.
She was born in 2008.
Thank you. Time to go.
We got her in 2009. She's
There.
really old.
Good job. Thank you for coming
so
in.
sweet. And so she has the crispiest meow out of all.
But you know what? You know what we've been doing? The vet was concerned because when animals get older, they lose weight sometimes and they don't do so well. So every day we give Miss Esme a second breakfast like a hobbit. So she has breakfast, then she has second breakfast, then she has 11s, and then she has a treat, and then she has dinner. So she's actually gained some weight. And I have to keep her alive as long as possible because one of my daughters has informed me that if anything happens to this cat, that's it for her too. So I'm doing my best to keep her going.
My God, the pressure on you it's worse than an operating room doctor. I got to
You
keep
don't
this
even-
cat alive. I got to keep this dog alive. I got to keep this lizard alive. Holy smoke.
The fact that I had to give the lizard a bath is something that I love animals and I love a good adventure and I'm up for anything. But giving a lizard a bath when the lizard is like, "You lady, I don't want this bath," it's a lot.
Do they do all? Is a lizard bathing a little lizard like bathing a cat? Do they get all freaky, or does what happens?
Well, it's even harder because so my daughter told me, put him in that bowl with the steep sides so he can't escape. That bowl turned out to be my salad spinner. So rest in peace, salad spinner. So I put him in the bowl and then you put a little warm water on the bottom and then some paper towels soaked in hot water. And then he splashes about with his tiny lizard hands while I gently scrub at him with a damp Q-tip. And wait, oh wait, no, it's even better. Before you can even get him into the salad spinner, Karamia said, just hold your hand in his habitat. It might take a half an hour, but eventually he'll climb in your hand. Girl, I don't have a half an hour for a lizard to hitch a ride in my hand. I stuck my hand in that habitat and I said, I'm sorry, buddy, this sucks for both of us. Grabbed him, dropped him in the salad spinner, began scrubbing at him with the Q-tip. But you know what is it to give the lizard a bath when every 3 days I hand feed him live mealworms? How is this? How is this?
I don't know how you do it. I want to say hi to Amanda Boyd. I have to
Hey,
answer her.
Amanda.
Amanda just said, have you seen the trailer for Masters of the Air? I think it's called. Masters of the Air, World War II film starring the great Austin Butler, who, of course, was robbed of the Academy Award playing Elvis. And so he plays a World War II ace in this. I have seen it, and I'm going to watch it coming up this weekend. I think it's 3 different episodes, but the guys who put together the Pacific and Band of Brothers, I think, put this one together too. And I think Austin Butler is so talented. I'm going to watch that one. Thank you, Amanda.
I want to see that one too, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've read some good stuff about that. Oh, who's a sweet girl? Who's the sweetest girl? You're the sweetest girl. Okay. There you go.
What are you doing?
There you go.
What are you doing?
So, Bob,
You can say kisses.
Bob here.
I fed last week I fed Yeti and he ate 22 live mealworms. And then the next day I went in to check on him and he had thrown them all up.
Oh.
And
Ooh.
Karamia, and Karamia said, "Oh, he does that sometimes. He's
Yeah.
dramatic."
Good
Wait
to
a minute,
know.
how would Karamia know what he does sometimes? You've had him for the last. I mean,
I've
when's
had
the
him.
last time she had him? How does she know what he does?
She comes home, like she's coming home this weekend.
Okay.
She's coming home this weekend because I will not. I have drawn the line at cleaning the reptile's cage. Is it not enough that I have to figure out what the hell to make for dinner for one more living thing? And you think that the lizard is the only thing that's getting a gentle sponge bath from this woman right now? Because think again. Cleaning his habitat is not going to be happening.
I think that you need to go ahead and take that month-long cruise where nobody can, get in touch with you. We will give all of your work from the show over to Lamar.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's funny because yesterday Kevin said to me he hates being helpless. He hates being waited on. He hates needing so much help. And he said, as soon as I can walk, you need to go away for a weekend and just do whatever you want to do for a weekend. And I was like, oh, what could possibly compete with Six Flags over reptile puke?
Would you like that actually, though? Would you like to go away for, let's say, 3 days by yourself in a hotel? I mean, it's supposed to be a woman's dream.
Not really. I mean, there was a time in my life when just a business trip where I knew for certain that I was going to get an uninterrupted night's sleep was like a luxury. But I'm going to go see my mom. My brother and I are going to meet up and go see my mom again.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And I'm looking forward to that. And, I mean, it's all good. Like, whatever. I don't know. Like, I don't know. You give the reptile a bath, you give the husband a bath, you give the cat a bath. It's tomorrow.
It all just mixes together, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this experience of being a caregiver for an immobilized man and a charming lizard has not been the worst. It really hasn't. I got no complaints.
I spent about a week a year ago in Maine alone, and I've done it several times. I don't think I've ever done it since I've been with Mary, but she had something to do or she was working or something, and I had to take the time off because of our vacation schedule. And I went to Southwest Harbor, Maine, and I liked it. I mean, I had a really good time.
Oh, I
But
could be. I could be by myself somewhere. No.
can you really? Because some people can't.
No.
Oh, you said you can't be by yourself.
No, I can. I can. It's not a problem for me. I can.
What would you do?
It depends. At this point, if I could go stay at a really nice hotel that had room service and had those blackout curtains, I would stay in that room for 3 days. I ordered all my food in, and I would sleep as much as I wanted to sleep.
I mean, it sounds good.
Really? Yes.
It sounds good. That, like, Lamar, that sounds really good. I mean,
That's what killed Elvis.
No, I don't think it was sleeping that killed Elvis.
No, but the room service and the food. No,
I think it was the drugs that might have.
No, I don't think it was the drugs that got Elvis. I think one of his friends said it was the kitchen at Graceland.
Well, I think it was the combination of, he really like we're all guilty of, we love the food we grew up on, we love comfort food, but the narcotics will constipate the bejeebers out of you.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
And let me just say a glorious thank you to every single one of our listeners who works in medicine. I've had
Yeah.
so many people reach out to me and say, "Hey, I'm a nurse and you should know dot dot dot." I have learned so many helpful things about what to do to help take care of my husband. And one of them said, and poor Kevin, one of them said, "Psst, hey, slip him a stool softener. You're welcome." Like, oh my God. Because for the first, he's off his pain meds now. He got off his pain meds in 5 days because he was concerned about how habit forming they can be. But those pain meds will back you up. And the king, and I make no judgment on Elvis, the king
yeah,
had a dependency.
yeah, he did.
He
You
did.
know, I
Bill
mean,
Harrington Penny, yes, I have. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's his life was a life that nobody had ever lived. There was no
Oh, no.
blueprint at all. Even Sinatra's life was not really like Elvis
No.
Presley's life. And this was not a kid who had, a great education or guidance and everything. And then, Colonel Parker comes along for better or for worse, and some of it was for worse.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
this poor guy is out there, and there's nothing like him. People who didn't grow up in that, and it's a little before my time. Um, it was one guy. I mean, the Beatles had four guys, so they were a band of brothers and all of that. This guy is going solo, and he's about to be arrested where he's playing because he's moving around and all.
Well,
And then he realized at one point, like a few years before he died, he realized and said to someone, "I can't stop. I have so many people who depend on me for their living." And who knows if that was in his head or whatever. But it used to make me so mad that people would make fun of him in his later years as if, you could do something like that. I mean, the strength it took for him to be who he
Oh,
was
yeah.
and create what he created coming out of Tupelo.
Yeah.
Um,
He
I
was
don't
just
know.
a country boy. He was just a
Yeah.
country.
Country
he was a
boy.
country
Yeah.
boy. He was
Yeah.
a country boy, and he was preyed upon. I
Oh,
mean, let's be honest. He was preyed upon. Um, yeah. I mean, a lot of
nobody
your
was giving him good direction. He was not getting good direction from anybody.
No.
Nobody
No.
gave him good direction.
And
When he
I'm
made
sure at
when
one point you
mistakes,
couldn't tell him anything because that's what happens to a lot of, big
well,
entertainers.
and when you become an individual who is an industry, we
yeah,
see that all the time in modern celebrity too.
Right.
Britney Spears is the greatest recent example of here's an individual, a single human being, a fragile, vulnerable human being who is a cash cow industry for not just a few people, but dozens of people.
Right.
an
And
entire
so the
family.
human being got sacrificed on the fire of the industry.
Right.
And I'll tell you something else. So Britney just got banned from the Four Seasons in Vegas for going topless. Um, and
When did that happen?
just a couple of days ago over the weekend,
What
and
was
yet
she at the salad bar or entertaining?
I think at the pool.
Oh,
But we all, including me, because I'm like team Kelsey brothers, listening to the New Heights, and I'm now a Kansas City Chiefs fan because I'm such a Swiftie. But you look at how we all were like, "Oh, Jason Kelsey's the greatest," when he ripped off his shirt and leapt into the crowd, and he gets celebrated, and Brittany gets banned, and we all know what the what is there. We all know.
Yeah.
We all know that nipples are one thing when they're on Lamar and another thing altogether when they're on Britney Spears.
I think we
Um,
need to end
Well,
the
it's not
show
that far
with that.
apart from me and
With
Brittany,
that,
probably.
yeah, that's a
But
great
yeah,
way, Jerry. Thank you for
yeah,
wrapping it up tonight. I think
yeah.
that's what we all
So
remember.
she's an industry. Elvis was an industry, and you know
Yeah.
what's really fucking tragic? We know how that story ends, and we keep going back and doing it over and
We don't
over
learn
and
anything
over
from it. Nobody
again.
learned.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah.
learned.
Again.
Nobody learned.
So tomorrow on the regular show, we have the People's Movie Critic reviewing Mean Girls,
You're not gonna want to miss it. You're not gonna want to miss it.
talking Lamar,
Not gonna
Blood,
want to miss
Honey, and
that.
Raspberries,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep.
And tomorrow's True Weird Stuff episode that'll drop tomorrow night is called Ballsy, and it tells the story of Dr. Leo Stanley, who pioneered testicular transplants to restore a man's youthful vitality and energy.
Mm.
He mostly used the testicles of recently executed murderers, but in a pinch, he'd swap in a pair of goat's balls. So there's some fun listening for your Friday night, and we certainly hope you'll tune
I
in.
appreciate you closing on that.
Yeah.
I really do, because
Yeah.
it makes me feel. It doesn't make me cringe at all. Okay, it doesn't
It's a
make me
feel
cringe
good.
at all.
Hey, but here's the wild thing about this guy. He had some success with this.
That's
Like, it
not the
didn't
wild thing about the guy.
It didn't. Yeah, no, it didn't let. Like, you'd think, well, my God, a lot of people must have died. No,
Really?
absolutely to the contrary. The effects didn't always last. The effects didn't always last, but it is a truly wild, true story of some stuff that happened in the USA in the day.
You know how you could tell if he used the goats?
Right.
The guy would jump up on top of a car and eat
Right.
a can.
Exactly. And once
It's
you've
a
got
dead
goat
giveaway.
balls, you can eat anything. You know what I mean?
So, y'all, thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow on the regular Bob and Sheri
Thank
show. Do
you.
not
Thank you for
miss
tuning in.
Talking Lamar. He's talking about the Razzies, and check out True Weird Stuff for a little testicular transplantation fun. And what says the weekend better than that? Cheers, everybody. See you next week.